Chapter 6. Victonian Visions. I assume Victonian is not the same thing as Victorian, but I have no idea what Victonian is. Your heart begins to pound and you clench your fists. It's just about all you can do not to pummel Mayor Victon on sight. Visions of Victon, got it. The only thing holding you back is seeing Grandma sitting in the living room behind him. What are you doing here, you say, willing yourself to stop shaking? What voice did I give this guy? This is a super deep voice or the bad guy? The mayor. What should the mayor sound like? I don't know. Now, there's no need to be rude. No, that's too English. A little too sniveling, I don't know. They make him southern, I guess, yeah. Now, there's no need to be rude, Mayor Victon said. After all, your grandmother was kind enough to invite me inside. You send Grandma a look, and she returns it with a calm nod. Not now, foe, you imagine her saying. Grandma, I told you to call me Taserface. I received an urgent call from my son claiming that some rogue rookie attacked him and sabotaged his latest case, Mayor Victon says. I had my office discover which so-called hero this was, and a quick background search gave us your address. Then, I had some of my more colorful staff pay you a visit. Your eyes flash back to Grandma, but she nods once again, indicating that she's alright. If this scum had hurt her, you don't even want to think about what you do. It's terrifying that your private information is out there, too. That's why, in the Civil War, you're against the friggin' Super-Powered Registration Act. That's why you're with Captain America and whoever else was on Captain America's side against those pieces of crap like Iron Man and Spider-Man and those cheap sellouts. Anyway, it's terrifying that your private information out there too. Sure, you have a secret identity, but since all heroes have to register with the government, there's a secure database, what an oxymoron, with all of the licensed heroes' information in it. A database that Mayor Victon clearly has access to, one way or another. Imagine my surprise when they found an old woman living here instead of some young buck hero, and then my absolute delight to learn that I had walked right into the new life of my dear old friends, the Foehamners. Victon nearly coos. I had heard you'd been enrolled in the PFPP, but I rather frustratingly hadn't been informed of your whereabouts. Mayor Victon pauses, hitting you with the warmest politician smile he can muster. He's got the same Kennedy-esque good looks as his son, but you can slightly see his replugged hairline and concealer-covered cheeks. It is rather gratifying to finally have found you after all these years, and even more gratifying to know exactly where you live, Victon says, his voice dropping. Do keep that in mind the next time you happen across my son. That's enough, you think? Blast Mayor Victon away. Oh, that would be satisfying. But I'm gonna hear him out. He's given me free information, and I haven't said a word yet. What do you want, you say? Okay, you ruined it. Your voice trembling? Actually, I guess we did say a word earlier, that doesn't count. This man took your parents away from you, and now has the audacity to threaten you in your own home? It's too much, but attacking him right now would get you nowhere. Especially because, for all of Mayor Victon's posturing, he has his eye on a bid for the upcoming presidential election. He's beloved by the people of Millennial City for regulating powered activity and making the city a safer place to live. Taking down your murderous parents was spun as a positive, but coming after their innocent, shattered family won't play well to the public, especially not with the PFPP backing you up. So PFPP was written by some sadist who's forcing me to practice not popping my peas. So Mayor Victon won't want to make any waves here, at least not today. Why, my dear child, what gives you the impression you could possibly have anything I might want? 'Cause you're here. Mayor Victon smiles at you, a smile that sends ice through your veins. Oh, that's a pretty good superpower. You're about to respond when suddenly Mayor Victon shouts in pain and jumps sideways. You're quite delighted to see that one of Grandma's Venus flytraps has had its way with Mr. Victon's thigh. Ooh, kinky. Oh, I'm terribly sorry about that, Grandma says. DeMilo sometimes has a mind of her own. Now, if you'll excuse me, I do think it's time you were leaving. That is, unless you have something constructive to add to this conversation. Mayor Victon looks from Grandma to you, the smile draining from his face. I just want to drop by to let you know you always have a friend in me, Mayor Victon says as he walks toward the door. Feel free to call me anytime, and now that I know where you two live, do remember that I can call you anytime I'd like to. On that discomforting notion, Mayor Victon exits your apartment. Bastard, Grandma says, petting DeMilo. She looks as if she wants to say more, but stops once she gets a closer look at you. Oh my word, you look dreadful, Foe. Taste your face. Are you alright? Yeah, just need a moment to think. So much has happened so quickly. A few short hours ago, it was the best birthday of your life. But now, if you just had a second to stop and collect your thoughts, you'd be alright. You tried your hardest to block out the failures, to forget that your costume is still covered in bits of human ash. You thought being a hero would be a glamorous and exciting, but tonight was just... You could barely save your own life, let alone anyone else's. As the adrenaline finally drains from your body, one thought pounds in your brain, pushing out everything else. You wish your parents were here. It isn't long before you're on the floor, the room blotching into blackness. The last thing you make out is Grandma kneeling beside you, looking more worried than you've ever seen her. 2 weeks later. Rookie hero Taserface ruins everything! Millennial Orbit article contributed by Sonia Chala. It's been weeks. Maybe this would have been a different headline had I actually spoken to the press. It's been weeks since this article came out, but it still stings every time you read it. Then stop doing that. At this point, you can only bear to skim the clipping. Not only does the news blog chew you out for destroying the gravitas, there's also a quote from Rexford Schiller's damning you for costing him hundreds of thousands of dollars. Of course, there's a quote from Jury, too, saying that you sabotaged what otherwise would have been a successful mission for him. The MCPD have also marked you as a dangerous fugitive, pinning the Splice Circle murders on you. In fact, the only reason the police haven't knocked down your door is... Jenny, my blessed PFPP agent, had the wherewithal to hack the government's database and alter my personal information after my Victonian visit. That sounds sweet. Or splurged for one major meat-chip upgrade to the anti-tracking function that stops police. Meat-chip is powerful. I hacked the database myself. Anti-tracking function sounds very broad and very cool. Do I have money? Remind me. Money. 1993. 1993. That seems like a good amount of money, but I don't know that I want to spend it willy-nilly. This is the first opportunity we've had to spend money, however, so I don't know if I should be hoarding my money either. I don't want to reach the end of the game and have too much money. Let's do this one. These hacking ones seem like... They seem awesome, which makes me suspicious that they're going to have really bad consequences later. Unlike this one, which has an immediate consequence of losing money, and that's it. I think. Yeah, it cost me a bunch of money. Without even telling me, so sneaky. There have been major political battles surrounding electronic tracking and privacy rights. Oh, there it is, let me back right here. Ho ho ho. So electronic tracking and privacy rights. You're supposed to be protected from most tracking as a result, but you don't buy that for 1 second. You purchased anti-tracking software as soon as you could, so your meat chip does its best to keep you erased from GPS grids, and clean up as many of your electronic footprints as possible. The software wasn't cheap though, setting you back 400 biggins. Last and certainly not least, Mayor Victon's office commented in the article saying that it's amateur hero scripts like this one that Mayor Victon's hoping to further regulate during the rest of his term. While this Orbit article probably helped to make Sonia Chala's career, it appears that she has done irreparable damage to yours. Even though she gave you a boost with that first piece on Tracker, she has thoroughly trashed your name with this second article, a fact you won't forget anytime soon. The people of Millennial City now think of you just as a hack. Not just as a hack, but as an actual danger to society. If you thought getting a good hero gig was hard before, it just got doubly difficult. The last chapter went so badly, I struggle to think that it could have gone any differently. And your legend level seems decimated before it has even had a chance to rise, down to a measly 4 according to your heroic license. You'd check the official Hero Legend Meter website that tracks your legend like a credit score, but you know it's bound to be depressing. The only positive news is that, good or bad, famous or infamous, you've placed yourself on the map in a big way. Getting people's attention is the first step to becoming a hero, even if it's only negative attention. That seems like really bad advice. And now that all of Millennial City is watching, it's up to you to decide what they see next. To clarify, getting negative attention by trying to do a good thing isn't like the end of the story. It's not like it's hopeless, give up. But you shouldn't deliberately seek out negative attention because any attention is good. That seems stupid. That's like if I try to get my YouTube channel big by first creating a series of videos where I had people kick me in the face. Or, you know, a sex video. Let's just escalate this. That would be bad, I think. That would be counter to my goals. I would not ultimately reach my end goal through that, I don't think. Although I suppose I could try. And now that Millennial City is watching, it's up to you to decide what they see next. Not a sex video. With that thought in mind, you took some time to rest and recover from that first traumatizing night. More importantly, you took time to reflect upon your actions. Considering all that happened with the Gravitas case, how do you really feel about your first heroic night? I put Tracker behind bars, saved as many lives as I could, and took a dangerous weapon off the streets. Despite what the press says, I did my duty as a hero to the best of my ability. My reputation is ruined! People think I'm useless at best, a criminal at worst. Going to be impossible in a launch of law. Blah blah blah. I'll go with A. Let's go with A. Optimism. Let's try it out, see if it works for once ever. Sometimes remaining positive and having a good attitude is all that matters. You still believe in yourself, and that's a trait worthy of a legend. Using your powers in real-life, heroing situations was quite a rush, but it proved to be equally terrifying. Even though you managed to survive the night, your power and health levels could have dropped to dangerously low levels, but they didn't. After a week's rest, you're fully healed and repowered. I guess I should have spent more frivolously. But how do you feel about your fighting decisions? I defended myself and stayed alive against insanely dangerous opponents, which is all that matters. I was too timid. I could have benefited for fighting a bit more offensively. I was too brazen. I need to make more strategic, defensive decisions. I followed my gut, and it paid off, so I always listen to my first instincts. This is a weird question, and I'm not sure what effects I expect to get from this. I don't think I was too timid. I also don't think I was too brazen. I was too timid in the sense... I wasn't timid per se, I was more frugal. I was very reluctant. I hoarded my energy power. Gotta keep that stinky bean energy inside where it belongs. Followed my gut and it paid off. I didn't do that either. I'll stick with A. A boring answer, but I defended myself and stayed alive against insanely dangerous opponents, which is all that matters. You certainly learned that your feelings regarding the law really matter, especially since these feelings have significantly affected your relationship with the MCPD. How do you plan to react to the law and the police moving forward? The police hating me could be a serious issue moving forward with my career, but at least I'm free to act however I see fit. I should have followed the law and worked with the police. Having them on my side is way better than having them against me. Well, I agree having them on my side is correct. However, I believe the whole point to having super-powered people is so they don't have to work with the police. If they did, they should be part of the police. So we're going with A. Screw the popo. No one's going to be able to tell you how to live your life as a hero, especially not the police. To clarify, don't screw the popo IRL. In a universe where there's superheroes, a common theme seems to be that police are inadequate to the job. That's why you have costumed crime fighters, because they get the job done while the police can't. I think that sums it up nicely. Finally, for only one night on the job, you amass an impressive array of enemies. Who do you think is your biggest threat? Threat in what way? Threat to what? Different people are threats to me in different ways. Mayor Victon scares me the most. But I hate Jury and Prodigal. So Mayor Victon's number one, I guess. I hate Jury second, and Prodigal third. The other people are no names I don't even give a crap about. I don't even remember who Rexford Schiller even is, which is not really an insult, more of a bad thing for my memory. Mayor Victon has more power and influence than everyone else on this list combined. He can make your life hell if he wants to, and after what he did to your parents, there's no way he won't think of you as a potential threat to his political aspirations. No matter how you feel about your first case as a hero, You realize that this is going to be way harder than you expected. Maybe I should have chosen jury, because choosing jury is also kind of including the mayor, although I think choosing the mayor also includes jury. It's kind of like the same decision. You're going to have to be stronger, smarter, and faster if you have any hope of surviving the deadly enemies you face, and of finding the success you so desperately crave. And what if this is all a crazy pipe dream? What if you're not good enough? What if the odds just never work in your favor? Your dreams could simply not come true, and no one would know. Except for you. You quickly shake these doubts off, though. No one ever said this was going to be easy. Ready to get back to work, you pull on your taser face costume. You know Grandma will kill you if you don't say goodbye before leaving, so you walk into the living room, where you find her wrestling with a rather large palm frond. Grandma has lost several of the tools from her gardening belt, and her hair has come undone, matted down to her face with beads of sweat. "I'm fine," Grandma says, wiping her brow. "Tropez here is just having a bit of a hard time adjusting, but he'll feel right at home in no time. By the way, that video game woman called again. She sounded rather angry." In your haste to start your heroic career, you quit the video game testing job without telling the company, or returning your advance deposit. Perhaps not the smartest move, especially now that you have no idea how you're going to start making money as a hero. Unfortunately, your bank account also took another hit this morning after you paid the $800 for rent. Grandma's pension doesn't cover all the bills. "Anyway, are you going to go see Jenny?" Grandma asks, returning to her battle with Tropez. Grandma thinks that with all this fresh heroic hell on your plate, it'd be smart to strategize with your PFPP agent, Jenny. She has access to government information and claims to have a lead that could help you sort out the mess with the Gravitas case. But you probably bit off too much too fast taking on the Splice Circle, the Spice Girls, so you've got your sights set on a smaller scale mission for tonight. "Oh, Foe," Grandma says. "Have you made a decision yet about the sidekick mentoring project?" Despite your heroic false start, Grandma has still been insisting that you take on a sidekick mentee. Whoa, that sounds like a terrible idea. I thought she meant I should try and be a sidekick to somebody so I can learn. Grandma, you crazy. I appreciate that sheer blind faith you have in me, but goodness gracious, is it unqualified and undeserved? She's always been involved in mentoring powered youth. You even had your own hero mentor back when you were younger. Oh, very young. I see. If I get a mentee, he's gonna die in a fight. Though the most exciting thing he asked you to do was pick up his dry cleaning. You'd never tell Grandma, but you don't have much faith in the program. Besides, you can't imagine why any young powered person would want to work with an amateur like you. Exactly. You've been rather reluctant to choose all week, but at this point, you're just tired of Grandma's constant and helpful reminders. All right, you say, pulling up the applicant files on your meat chip. As they scroll in front of your face, you decide to go with, "Nobody's not an option. Gosh dang, gotta pick somebody. Okay, Sparrow. Is that like Robin? A 16-year-old orphan from the eastern fringes who has the appearance and abilities of a typical bird." How do you know he's not a bird? It's just a regular bird they sell as a superhero. Coming from a neighborhood like the Fringes, she won't have many heroic opportunities within her reach, a fact you know all too well. Pressy, a 14-year-old, 4-foot-tall, gnomish-looking boy. He believes his power to manipulate the earth comes solely from his magical peg leg. His only dream is to become a hero, but given his rather cutesy appearance, that seems highly unlikely. He could be like Puck. Tarana Rain, a 15-year-old girl who has the power to generate and manipulate water. She goes to ritzy Rhine Hill-powered private school and comes from a wealthy family, one that owns the Millennial Orbit, MC's best-selling news blog. Interesting. Well, our options are, we empathize with Sparrow because she comes from the Fringes, which is cool. We want to help out other people. Once you lift yourself up by the bootstrap, send the ladder down or something like that. Pressy sounds cool because manipulate the earth is awesome. However, he sounds like a goofy fool. Tarana Rain, manipulating water is also pretty dang cool. And that Millennial Orbit stuff is interesting. Do I go with greed? Tarana Rain's the greedy option. I'm not considering Pressy, really. Sparrow's the more noble, heroic, less self-fulfilling option, I suppose. Yeah, 16-year-old, 15-year-old growth girls. That's not really a factor. Eastern Fringe, rich or poor, I don't know. I kind of I want to pick Tarana Rain because I want to see if this story does like the fish out of water, pun intended, kind of situation where she's like, oh, you're poor. I did only use my water to help do a rich thing. What a good analogy. Good job, Foe. Hey, achievement, sidekick, Tirana Rain. Tirana Rain sounds like she might be a real pain, and you can't fathom why she's applying to this program, but you do like the idea of having a connection to the orbit. Impressing her parents might come in handy. It's her dad, J. Jonah Jameson, given their considerable influence with the media world. Hey, if you're gonna do this mentor a sidekick thing, why not get something out of it for yourself, too? Yeah, divine choice, sir, Meechip Algernon says, appearing today in one of his standard issue outfits, a tweed suit. I think Tirana Rain will make a fine sidekick. I hope you're right, Algernon, you think, figuring it's best practice to thought command function as much as possible. I'm going to go with Tirana Rain, you say to Grandma. I had a feeling you might, Grandma says, a mischievous smirk stretching across her face, which is why I told her to meet you in Ringe Square in 5 minutes to help you with whatever you've got planned for tonight. Grandma, you meddling fool. You open your mouth to protest, but you know it's no use. Arguing with Grandma once she has made up her mind is mind-numbingly futile, so you simply nod, jaw clenched. This is certainly going to be interesting. Before you go, you walk over to say goodbye to Gun Metalia. Gunny Metalia, stroking her petals for good luck. And for heaven's sake, Foe, Grandma says, once again looking more worried than you can stand. Please be careful out there. You nod at Grandma, knowing it'll be hard to screw things up worse than you did last time. In your room, you prepare for takeoff, checking over your costume one last time. Then you look up at your poster of your parents, causing another streak of guilt to run through you. Maybe you should write to them, yeah! And then you stop yourself, thinking that nothing has changed. You've been left to live your life without your parents, so that's exactly what you're going to do. Instead, you glance over at your poster of Rebellion, thinking that getting to his level seems further away than ever before. Ooh, part 2. Pride comes before. So I guess this wraps up part 1. Part 1 was what? Is it 6? 6 chapters? 6 chapters to a part? We'll see how consistent that is. Cool beans. When you first started watching this, I apologize for the shock of this baby bear face, but I was doing some cosplay this weekend, which required me to shave. A horrendous chore, but gotta do what you gotta do for the costume, right? The ends justify the means and all that.